welcome to our 30th edition of Drive Chat. The Drive Chat today is going to focus on our Fleet Safety Awards, with specific attention being paid to the passenger side. As you all know, we run the Fleet Safety Awards and have done so for 3 years running. This is our 4th year. But in order to get some perspective for viewers, we'd like to invite the organization or a representative from the organization that won Best Organisation for our 2024 Fleet Safety Awards. So please join with me as we invite Derek Lewis, the Executive Passenger for UNITRANS. Derek, please join us.
Good morning, Eugene.
Hi, thank you very much for joining us. Maybe just to set the context, we read headlines such as bus crash in South Africa claims dozens of lives. It's dramatic, and I know it is really serious issues that we're dealing with. But I have found that certainly because the magnitude of your business that you run, and this is not speaking to you, I'm talking the bus industry in general, when there is a bus crash, everything is highlighted, and the exaggeration really is kind of unwarranted. But let's talk to what makes your organization successful. You were the winners of our last 2024 Fleet Safety Awards for the Best Organisation. So how does this, having won that, reflect on the values that UNITRANS has as an organization? Maybe you'd like to share that with us.
Yeah, thank you, Eugene. I would say that this award is certainly a positive and powerful affirmation of our commitment to safety, and also is a validation of our of safety being, the cornerstone of our organizational culture. So certainly from an affirmation and validation perspective, that is certainly well received, but it is also an acknowledgement to the unseen and unsung heroes on the ground, that every day, in terms of their discipline and accountability and ownership of safety, and this reward reflects their efforts.
Speaking of which, it's obviously a culture that is evident within the organization. How do you ensure that this message gets through to not only the drivers, but every team member? Your buses are on the road carrying hundreds of thousands of passengers, no doubt. How do you ensure that this message gets across?
So safety, as mentioned, needs to be, or certainly for us, it needs to be a core value that is enshrined in every level of the organization. So starting from the top in terms of leadership, right down to our drivers, our most important employees, and that is driven by effective communication at every level. So it would be from an onboarding perspective. It would be in your social systems in terms of your meetings from an office-based staff, but then also toolbox talks, and it is certainly not just one-sided. We believe that a feedback loop is very beneficial, and we take that feedback seriously, and we then, with an element of continuous improvement, look to perfect our processes and structures.
Thank you for sharing that. And if I can just comment from my side, I know I've participated in some of your webinars where we've had 200, maybe more staff in attendance, sharing on matters such as distracted while driving, fatigue, and so forth. So I see personal evidence of the fact that it works with you. Not that I had anything to do with the judging process, so let's make that clear. But obviously it works for you. Now, let's just be pragmatic for a moment. Yes, you've got to do things that cost money, but how does having a good road safety philosophy impact positively on your bottom line? And are there any negative connotations?
So certainly from a numbers perspective, safety does assist with regards to cost reduction in terms of minimizing incidents and accidents. And beyond the numbers, from a reputation perspective, it is a competitive advantage for us, certainly as our customers and consumers in our commuter operations. There's a flight to quality and better service, and obviously safety. consumers or would be literally voting with their feet. Do you get into a vehicle that is not roadworthy, or do you get into one that is that has tried and tested and acknowledged, like we have now, with regards to safety accolades? So certainly it is something that for us is it is a virtuous cycle for us with regards to safety. Certainly.
I must say, and I haven't seen any of your brand anywhere, but when I open the paper or watch the news and I see a bus overturned, I immediately look for the name. And I would hate to be the CEO or the executive manager for that company, knowing the fallout that happens. So really, congratulations that I've never seen any of your buses on the side of the road or involved in an accident. But getting back to our Fleet Safety Awards, obviously there's a bit of work that's involved. We know we gave away some recognition and the like. What message would you send to other people or other organizations that operate in your industry with regard to seeing the value of putting their names forth and participating in something in which they can get recognition that you did?
Yeah, so I think, as mentioned, safety shouldn't be, well, it should be paramount with regards to, certainly in our industry. I mean, it's precious cargo. It's not just dealing with a high value asset, you're dealing with people's lives. So beyond any sort of other motivation, it should be just the cornerstone of what we do. And in doing it well, I would say that safety needs to be a priority at a senior level and at leadership level, and not just a departmental one. And to do it well, I would say certainly that for us, what has really worked is measuring it. What is measured is managed well, and what is recognized is repeated. And that for us, again, and it's probably the third time that I've mentioned it, is that safety needs to be inculcated into your organizational culture. Otherwise, essentially, with respect, it's probably just playing lip service.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and leadership is actually what sets the tone, isn't it? I remember one of my colleagues is an NPO that I work with, the Minister of Transport. I won't share who it was, but it was a few years back. They pulled up on the side of the road and he had his thing at the garage there. And he got into the motor car and he didn't put his seatbelt on. Now, that's the Minister of Transport. So if you, and I'm speaking about you as an executive manager, don't take the lead in ensuring that you do all the right things, such as not being distracted while driving, etc., how can we honestly expect our team members that carry lives? So that's really great. And thank you that you highlighted it. But of course, you do realize this is going to be shared with everybody, and your competitors are now going to be saying, hey, I want to be like Derek. But let's just close it off then. What would be maybe a final message that you have? And also, can you speak, without giving away any trade secrets, how you anticipate making any further improvements in the road safety culture in your organization?
Eugene, before I do that, just to touch on your comment, that if the outcome of this interview is that our competitors are improving their safety, then I suppose that it's done. It's hit the mark. I would say 95% of any incidents and accidents that we have are third-party related. So as best practices that we put in place, like we have, it also is a responsibility for everyone on the road. And so if that message of safety can be widely spread and entrenched, then it will be better for everyone. So absolutely, in terms of shared learnings, if anyone that wants to take out any snippets in terms of what has worked for us, then that is more than welcome with regards to them using it. So to answer your question, I suppose, is in terms of how we, with an element of continuous improvement, we look to technology to improve our safety processes, using technology in terms of preventative and measures, especially in our vehicles, in terms of video, external and internal. From an internal perspective, it can be measuring behavior and enhancing training. And then certainly from a sensor perspective, technology is moving to a level that is just frightening. To actually prevent the incident altogether. And beyond that, from a technology perspective, is just also the human element. So expanding our driver wellness programs, recognizing fatigue, recognizing that our drivers and our staff are human beings, and they have lives, and lives are stressful nowadays, and making sure that comprehensively you're not just actually managing the end state, you're actually managing the human being as a human being as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think that there were some really key take-home points there. Obviously, not just for the bus industry. Yeah, we're talking to you at the moment, but it's everybody. And I'm glad that you highlighted the fact that third-party incidents, and in our training that we do, we cover the full spectrum from passenger vehicles right through to buses, trucks, etc. One of the key components is we teach, or we endeavor to educate other road users about how they should engage with heavy traffic, trucks, buses, etc. Because if we can make them more sensitive to that, well, then hopefully we can diminish the number of incidents. But thank you, Derek. You've given us a lot of your time. We appreciate it. And I do trust that you will be entering again. I can't promise. Oh, no, you can't win again as an organization, but your fleet managers, and there's other categories, by the way, that we've opened up. And I look forward to sharing the platform with you again. We're doing the awards in October, so it coincides nicely with Transport Month. And I do trust that, and here's my recommendation, please, can we encourage as many people as to enter as possible? The total value of money that we're giving away is 250,000 Rand. R250,000 we're giving away to deserving people and organizations, and I hope that you're one of them. That was Derek Lewis, Executive Manager for UNITRANS. Thank you for joining us, and until we see you again, thank you and take care.